Hey guys, welcome back to Beast Quest, Series 26, Technos, the Ocean Crawler. Hey guys, welcome back to another series of Beast Quest reviews, and we're now on Series 26 finally, Technos, the Ocean Crawler, and yes, we're calling it Technos because I think it's a more intimidating sounding name, and it fits better with the aquatic nature of the beast, so me and Adam agree on that. Me and Adam agree. Technos is the better name than Technos, so Technos, the Ocean Crawler, is what we're calling it. So, like always, in-depth story analysis and my overall thoughts on this epic adventure. So, if you haven't already, make sure you have gone and watched. Make sure you've gone and read this book before watching this review, unless you don't care for spoilers. So, let's go ahead and tackle this one. Tom and friends were celebrating their victory from Series 25 after freeing Rotu from Zargon's prison kingdom. However, it didn't take long for the guard to inform our heroes that Zargon's body was not found, meaning he had escaped, and thus a blast of energy was breaking a tomb, as Zargon returns, trapping Tom under some rubble. Eleanor saved Tom, but Zargon escaped, taking 4 weapons from each of the tombs he'd smashed, which were a mace, a sword, an axe, and a spear. The Queen was informed, and she explained some backstory. That Zargon used to be a good wizard, and he created weapons for 4 warriors trying to compete for master/mistress of the beasts in Tangala. These weapons would turn evil beasts to good when defeated. However, while they did defeat the beasts, they were all fatally wounded, so they still perished that day, putting themselves into the tombs we saw. And as a nice touch, they will all be remembered as masters and mistresses of the beasts for their sacrifices they made. Zargon, being the wizard who created the weapons, probably plans to revive these beasts again by reversing the power of their weapons. Luckily, Eleanor had a piece of Zargon's cloak, so they could know where he is. Once that was done, Tom and Eleanor were teleported to go after him. However, they arrived drowning. Yeah, they arrived in the middle of the ocean, or like a lake or something. Let's see. This setup feels kind of like Series 15, where an evil wizard takes objects from a castle to aid in awakening a bunch of beasts. So there's a bit of a callback to that. Let's see. Our heroes quickly emerged from the water and went ashore and headed for a nearby town the Queen spoke of. However, no one seemed willing to speak to our heroes until the chief of the town asked what they want. When Tom spoke the truth, they didn't believe him. They were going to lock him up until they coughed up the truth in their own minds. So, not wanting to start a fight, Tom and Eleanor surrendered to the town. Well, we've seen this before. They were locked up for a bit until a girl called Clara, who our heroes assumed was the chief's daughter, actually did believe them, as she did see Zargon chanting on a cliff. She set them free, returned their weapons, and led them to Zargon. However, despite Tom's efforts, the wizard had completed the spell, tossing one of the 4 weapons, the spear, into the depths of the sea. I'm guessing this is where the ocean crawler fell. This is where the ocean crawler fell in battle. Tom tried to stop Zargon by getting into an actual well-handled small fight with Zargon, along with Eleanor. However, Zargon escaped as our heroes were left to face the ocean crawler, Teknos, a giant turtle/tortoise-looking beast. It's hard to say as it does have flippers, but it's also got like spikes on it. That could be toes. Anyway, Technos summoned a giant wave from the ocean, forcing our heroes to get to higher ground. Another thing I want to mention is it's a nice callback to like one of Godzilla's enemies, Gamera, something like that. There's this giant turtle enemy that Godzilla had, so it's a nice callback to that creature. Let's see where I am. Let's see. Here we go. Our heroes did manage to evade his attack. However, he was now going for the town, and as he blamed them for waking him up from his slumber. Tom saw this as there was still good in him, basically. And after a sequence of saving Clara and the villagers, and Tom getting pummeled, Tom thought for a second he got through to him until the chief emerged. Tom saved the chief after Technos' little tantrum. He gained the leader's trust as he ordered his people to leave the town, while the heroes defeated Technos. Or deal with Technos, basically. Tom started to conjure a plan with a large net. While it was working at first, Technos soon bitten his way out, and Tom's next plan was to lure Technos away from the town. But with no weaknesses yet exposed, how could they beat this guy? With the beast now with the beast now in the near, the beast. Yeah, wait, with the here we go. With the beast now near the beach, Tom spotted a crane and lowering him under it, timing it right, Tom hooked up Technos and Eleanor reeled him in as Technos fell on his shell, enabling him to get him back on his proper position, which is a pretty standard defeat for most creatures of this species as Taurus. Tom finally got through to Technos and the people of the town all helped heave Technos back on his feet as he went back to the sea. The chief apologised and all was well. However, there were all 3 more beasts out there. So, there we have Technos the Ocean Crawler. It's a very simple, standard issue Beast Quest book. I mean, if I had to compare, if you ask me what I would say is a standard, easy book for like new readers, apart from Inferno, this is probably a good one because it's got a lot of elements you see in other Beast Quest stuff that Tom has done, where he's like, he's got to go on this quest to fight a bunch of beasts. People don't believe him. They lock him up. An evil wizard. It's a very simple plotting, and the beast itself has a simple motivation. It doesn't like the people because it woke him up. It wants to fight. Tom has to calm it down. The villagers get some redemption and help out. It's very simple. A simple tale on. It's not overwhelming itself in any way, and I think that's what makes it work so well. So, it's not going to be my best, but it's a nice simple one. It's a nice simple plotting. So, overall, I do like this one. It's one of the better starters, I would say, in my personal opinion. Yeah, there's not much to it, but since it's well simple handled in its structure, I think it works pretty well, because it allows the pacing to flow a bit better. Let's go into the characters now. Tom. Tom, of course, like many series, is the main character, but as for this story, I would say both him and Eleanor, which I'll get to, are both dual protagonists in this one, in this book particular. As Tom, of course, he's the one a bit suspicious of what's going on. He wants to know, and the Queen is a bit of a shady character. I didn't mention in my character analysis, but she does keep secrets from people. Even when she got married to Hugo, she didn't mention about this stuff. So there are still some trust issues going on there. But yeah, Tom, of course, is the suspicious one of what's going on. He wants to be informed most of all, and he does have to rely on his forward thinking. He's the most determined to bring Technos back to the light and stop Zargon from rising. He was the first one to go for him. So I would say he's the most determined to put all this right, which speaks to what a hero should be. So he lives up to his nature, his character. Eleanor, she doesn't get much to do with Tom because that's standard issue for Beast Quest, but she does have her fair share of moments where she helps out, where she saves Tom from Zargon twice. Yeah, she saves Tom from Zargon twice. Zargon from him. She saves Tom from Zargon twice. Technos, she helps out with the net and the crane incident. She helps save the villagers. So overall, and of course, she even doubts Tom at times, and she's probably the most relatable character to if you compared our logic to these characters. The most character you would agree with you is probably Eleanor. She's the tough person. She feels like the tough girl who's like, I don't know, a bit trusting. She's more doubt and trust than Tom, I'd say, and that makes it a more fascinating character in some right. So overall, I think that both those characters, both Tom and Eleanor, worked fairly well in this book because they both had a part to play in completing this quest. Moving on to the Chief. The Chief is a side character I'm not going to say much about, but of course he's your generic, typical grumpy person who doesn't believe Tom at first. He comes around the end when he finally sees the danger. So, standard issue for him. I just thought I'd mention him briefly because he's Clara's dad. Who we're going to next? I believe her name is Clara. I'm pretty sure it was. Yeah, it's in my story analysis, so it has to be. Because I wrote this down after each chapter, so it has to be Clara. And if it is, then I'll be stupid, but hopefully it isn't. But yeah, Clara, which I'm going to say is Clara. She's a nice, well-rounded character. Again, doesn't get much to do because it's trying to set up on the setup of the story. But overall, she does believe in them. She believes that they're telling the truth, and she does the right thing, letting them go. So overall, a well-rounded character. Not much to say compared to other ones, but again, starter book. Zargon and then Technos. So we save the beast to last, of course. Zargon is our villain once again, and of course, this is probably a good chance for him to get more light because we didn't know much about him because the last series was his pilot, series 25, and we didn't really get to know him much as he was in the background waiting for our enemies to strike because he didn't see Tom as a threat, so that's why he was more in the background. But I would like to see Zargon more in the front now his kingdom or whatever it was, prison, whatever, has been destroyed. Was it destroyed or was it reformed to beauty. It's one of those two. I'm sure Adam will correct me or someone will after this, or I'll ask him. But yeah, so yeah, Zargon basically is now. I feel like he should be more in the front lines of Series 26 because I don't want him to have another backseat because he should take Tom seriously now. He's more of a serious threat than he realized. So as well as Ellen, of course. So I want Zargon to be more in the front lines. In the first book, he kind of was, which I am happy about. He didn't get much to do, but his setup, he already knew. Both him and again going to Queen Aroa knew what his backup plan is because he was originally a good guy. Because we get backstory for this character. He was originally a good wizard that was on the good side, but later on, as he became, I'm guessing, when he became more smarter and smarter, he believed his decision making was more better than the Queen's, and she started to disagree with that, and that's how this whole rivalry between those two characters played out. So he was banished to his kingdom and all that stuff there, and that went, which we saw in Series 25. And now it's sort of come back full circle, where I feel like some of Queen Aroha's actions are coming back to bite her in one because she's not being 100% honest with everyone with what information she's giving. So there's that. But yeah. So overall, I'd say Zargon again, pretty interesting, well-rounded character. He was able to do a good number of stuff, and he managed to get away for future books. Technos is our big bad for this book. Again, he's a kind of a minor beast. His motivations are pure. He just wants to be left alone. And since he was woken up, he was angry about that, and he takes his frustration out on the people for some reason. Not sure why. I guess he's like, oh, that's the closest thing I'm seeing. I'm seeing that woke me up. So it takes a while to get through to him, but when he does, he leaves peacefully. And overall, he's just like, not the most intelligent of creatures, but a simple-minded one at that. And he serves his purpose. So overall, there we have my thoughts on Technos the Stone Crawler. Wait, the Stone Crawler? Technos the Ocean Crawler. Because Arcano came out recently and it's hard to, focus on. Technos the Ocean Crawler is an okay book. His defeat is kind of pretty weak though. I don't think Adam may like it, but it is natural for what a beast of his nature should be. Hopefully you guys did enjoy this review. If you did, smash that like button, subscribe, that good stuff, hit the notification bell, right corner down below. So you can stay in tune with all the LEGO DC Superman's custom builds and Beast Quest content on this channel, obviously. And next up, of course, is Malix the Silent Stalker. I'm looking forward to that book more than this one, I would say. But overall, this is a good book to start with. That'll be all from me. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.